Happy Friday, everybody. Today we're looking at the Athearn Tank Train Runner Pack. So like I stated, these are tank cars from Athearn, and honestly, I am super impressed with the quality of these new cars that Athearn is releasing. I have been branching out, trying to get a bunch more manufacturers to compare their rolling stock. And so Lombard had a really good deal on the runner packs from Athearn, and I have kind of a soft spot for the tank train livery that this is kind of in. I think they're really cool looking, and I got these. I put them together. There, you have to separately kind of attach the hoses here, which kind of keeps them as a unit, but for premium cars in the $30 price range, which these are, I have yet to find as reliable pieces of rolling stock from the factory as these. I've got to say Athearn is really bringing their A game with these new pieces of rolling stock. I have picked up several more since getting these, and I have to tell you, I am so impressed with the quality that you're getting for that $30 price range. I thought initially that I was going to struggle with these. I have had some Athearn rolling stock in the past. Plastic wheels, I forget what the coupler type is on these. I'm not a big fan of them. However, these particular cars, if you can't see, they come pre-installed with metal wheels. They roll super smooth. They track through everything properly. I have had some other premium pieces of rolling stock that had metal wheels that would not go through turnouts. They would derail in certain sections. These things have been 100% push-pull, weight behind them, weight in front of them, through turnouts, 100% reliable. And to my surprise, I found that the couplers on these, despite being the knuckle couplers that I'm not a real fan of, I would prefer micro trains, I haven't had an issue with them. Now, on my Athearn engines, I have a couple. I've really struggled with their couplers, especially with the big load behind them. They tend to flex a little too much, and they would release cars. On all of my new Athearn pieces of rolling stock, the couplers have been great. They actually couple pretty easy with all my other micro trains, Atlas, what have you. And they tend to hold really well even with a big load behind them. So Athearn, right on. I really appreciate you guys getting the engineering of this stuff down and having the cars be totally functional. I've had some comments about, well, have you made sure the cars are up to weight? And I'm not really a fan of that conversation. I think when you buy a piece of rolling stock, whatever weight it's built to, it should function at the weight provided to you. You shouldn't have to modify, do any of that stuff. Now, I would like to have a conversation about the NMRA weight standards at a separate time, but in context to these, I don't care what they weigh. They are awesome and they function properly, and that's the way it should be. All right, so we're going to zoom in, get a nice up-close look at this engine, and go over some of the things that really sets it apart from, say, my Microtrains, Deep Rock, those runner packs. I mean, excellent pieces of rolling stock, but these things are up and above to another level. So if you look across the top there, all three of these cars have the full-length hand railing running across the top. Relatively strong for the scale. I'm rather impressed with that. You can see the hose there is rubber and stays connected as long as the cars are coupled together. But it's got a little bit of give. It's a real rubber hose, adds some nice realism. The paint on this is really crisp, has a nice color to it, and all of the fine detail, you can read all of the number work on it. If you look at the bottom right-hand corner here, I'll kind of bring it center screen. Zoom in a tick. Nice and legible, all of the data and information on there. I mean, just awesome silk screening work on this. The paint looks flawless, as it should be for a $30 car. While we're zoomed in here, notice the tube connection there where it goes to the rubber hose is very detailed. The catwalks, the mesh on them, and I would tip this over so you can see it a little bit better, but you can also see it down there at the bottom on the walkway there. The mesh is just super small, highly detailed. I wonder if it's not brass just because of how small the actual, you know, crisscross pattern on there is. It is just unbelievable the detail they got put into these. All of this is separately applied and is very strongly attached. It's not like some of my other tank cars where you look at the hand railing wrong and all of a sudden it's falling off. Again, I mentioned metal wheels from the factory. They fit nice and properly. They look really good. Nice and quiet. You get the little ting every time it goes over an intersection, as it should be. I have some metal wheels that kind of make a lot of noise. These are nice and polished, have a good sound on the rails, so that is something that, again, a premium piece of rolling stock, they should run that way. I'm going to carefully tip these back, and as you look underneath, the level of detail is just absolutely immaculate. You've got all the brakes and tubing and whatnot. Notice that bottom, I'm not sure if that's actually a liquid tube or just part of the airline or something to that nature. I'm not that filled in. That is hair thin and just high detail on these. So post-COVID area, we're starting to see some of the stuff that was delayed kind of come out, and I see Athearn is just dumping rolling stock after rolling stock. I see it on my Instagram pretty regularly, and I gotta say, this is a nice change. I love having options out there, and so far I think Athearn is really pricing these things appropriately. They're going after, you know, some of the high-end scale train stuff. This outdoes some of the Microtrain's high-end stuff and comes in at a better price point, if I'm being honest. The Intermountain covered hoppers, I mean, this is directly competing with the high-end manufacturers and beating them on price in a lot of ways. So I love competition in the space, because this is probably going to push the competition to bring their prices down or upgrade their wheel sets or something of that nature, make them a little more runnable, because I've got scale train stuff that isn't perfectly reliable. I've got a lot of Intermountain stuff that isn't that way. Some of it is, but everything I've purchased so far from Athearn has been just rock steady, and it's a nice change. I like that you can buy good rolling stock and have it be reliable. That's the way it should be. So Athearn, thank you for doing this. Not a fan of your engines yet, still working on that, but your rolling stock, my God, this is some of the best stuff that I have come across in a long time. So much appreciated. You can still find lots of runner sets and individual intermediate. You buy essentially the two ends and the center with this runner pack. You could fill in with a lot more centers to make this all a continuous running train. There's still several runner packs available on Lombard. I've also seen them on Train World. They also are on eBay right now. They tend to be a little higher priced, about $100 instead of $90 for a runner pack. But they're available, and a lot of them have free shipping at that point, so it kind of will even itself out. But even at $100, these 3 packs would be an excellent purchase. I think they're absolutely worth that. So thanks for stopping by, everybody. If you have a chance to pick these up, I think you should. You're really going to enjoy them. They're a step above all the other tank cars I've ever tested, including those BLMA, tank cars that I reviewed quite a while ago and was very excited about. I was told that Atlas picked those up, and they're going to be rebranding them, selling them in their Master Series. They were excellent, really good running pieces of rolling stock, but you got to be careful touching them. They're a little bit fragile in some ways. These have been awesome, and as a guy that takes stuff on and off his layout a lot, I don't like fragile cars. That just leads to damage, and then resale value becomes a thing at that point. These are super. I just love them. I can't say enough good things about them. So absolutely go pick some up. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I'll see you this Sunday. We're going to talk about those Gevos from Scale Trains. It's probably going to be a long review. I got a lot of stuff to go over, so buckle up. Bye now.